New myMA updates, protecting your business from risk. Paperless direct debits, starting now. This week has been a very busy week, as always. We've just launched some new updates to myMA, which we are very excited about. Event transaction fees are now a lot simpler. We've also added a new automation trigger. Sadly, students do leave. However, with our new trigger, you can gain valuable insights and trends that can help you change processes that can help you keep your students for longer. This week we've also had a busy webinar week. We've had 4 this week, including on Monday our Business Booster Lounge webinar, which is always on the first Monday of every month. These are similar to our in-person events that we hosted in the past on a wide range of subjects. This week we spoke to Martha Evans, the director of the Anti-Bullying Alliance, and it was so interesting to hear her insights into bullying. So thank you very much to her, and if you missed it, don't worry, you can find it on our community group. Let's head over now to our head of compliance, Jess. She's got some useful tips about how to protect yourself and your business from risk.
Risk is everywhere, but I think 3 really key risks to think about in any business of any size is security risk, financial risk, and reputational risk. So security risk, cybercrime, I'm sure everyone's had one of those emails from somewhere and some scammer asking you to do certain things. It's really important that IT systems are built and set up in a way that protect yourself and your students from being scammed. And I mean, at Nest we might ask you to sometimes jump through hoops. It feels like for that kind of information, but really it's just to protect you, and it's to protect the kids and the adults who are training.
Okay, so the students that
yes,
are
the
obviously
students,
the main key focus.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, and it's really important to do that. And I mean, I suppose that also brings me on quite nicely to reputational risk as well. So we all know we're living in the generation of TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and it's really important, and Twitter, and it's really important that when that we have policies in place, both in Nest and in your own businesses that give guidelines for staff to interact with your students, with potential students online.
Is that like not posting a picture without their permission?
Yes.
And going through that kind of stuff?
Yes, it's things like that. It's making sure that you've got those privacy policies in place, but it's also making sure that in the event you have a disgruntled or upset student who decides to interact with you online, that you have the right policies and procedures that you go through so that you can come out making that person an advocate for your brand rather than being judgmental.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect.
That's really important. And of course, financial risk, it's the big one that everyone worries about. Nobody wants to lose money, right?
No.
But I think it's really important with financial risk to understand that you can't cut corners. It's important to exercise real due diligence when you're doing everything. We've really invested in that at Nest, but from a business point of view, you might think, I'll give an example, could be you might think, oh great, the students in front of me, I'll just fill this EDD in for them because I know that they're joining for me right now and we have this verbal contract. But actually what you might not realize is that person might go on to train for 2 years, but by you filling that in for them, essentially that agreement has now become null and void if they haven't signed, even if it's an electronic signature, if they haven't signed to say that they agree to that EDD.
So if, for example, 2 years down the line they have been training but you did it for them, then they could just say, oh actually I didn't want to do that, I didn't count.
And it doesn't matter legally, unfortunately, and in terms of the regulator, it doesn't matter if you have provided the highest level of training to them and grading and everything like that. They're within their rights to claim that back.
So then usually they will get all that money back then, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think, and you don't realise, and I think what is really important here is that you might think that that's quite low risk, but today's consumer and today's student is savvier and savvier. And whilst 90% would never try that because they would, there's an ethical, there's an ethical dilemma there. There will be people who do. And I think it's important to protect yourself against that, because at the end of the day, if you're doing everything that you need to be doing, you're making sure you're running your risk assessments, you're making sure you're not cutting corners, it saves you so much pain in the long run that it's worth a little bit of pain initially. And I think that's something to live by, really.
It's just knowing that you've done that and you've done the preparation beforehand, so you don't have to run into those.
Well, I mean, you hear the whole adage, fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
Yeah.
So, and it's very true when it comes to risk. And you can use risk to your advantage as well. Sometimes you might run a risk assessment and might bring something up that becomes an opportunity for your business in the future. And you might think, wow, there's a market that I haven't cornered, or there's something that we could try that comes out of something that feels a little bit frustrating and onerous to have to do, but it's actually a really great opportunity. If you've got any questions, just come to us. There's nothing wrong. I would rather, as head of compliance, I'd rather you come to me or to Nest Management and ask us if you're not sure about something. Always ask, and you'll always provide the best advice that we can within reason. We can't provide legal advice,
but
I can point you to the right direction. And also from a regulated point of view, I can say, okay, I wouldn't suggest doing that. Because it's in our interest to protect you, and it's in your interest to protect your students, because we all grow together.
Exactly. Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Some great information there. Thank you very much. Now for a bit of learning on our myMA system. Let's have a look. Using myMA, you can easily generate paperless direct debit requests and send it to a prospect. There are 5 different ways to set up paperless direct debits. Check out our myMA toolkit for guides on how. If you haven't done so already, be sure to check out the description below, as there's so much useful resources for you, from other Nest videos, blog posts to marketing guides and our social media, and of course our FAQs section, which brings us on today's FAQ. Let's have a look now. Do Nest offer advice on social media marketing? Yes, Nest offer webinars, video tutorials, written guides, and all the information you need to become a social media expert. Our guides are specifically designed for martial arts marketing and getting new students. Taking that first step can be difficult to do. What you have achieved so far is brilliant. Growing your martial arts business with Nest helps pave the way to your success. Did you know that 100% of Nest clients we surveyed said that they got more leads since swapping to a myMA website? That is just one of an almost limitless amount of ways that Nest Management can help grow your school. Don't doubt yourself and become what you want to be. Well, that's it from me, but as always, we'll see you next week. Posts about blogs about posts, blog posts, with all 3 different footages.
Oh, right. So
because this one got more leads, not get more leads. Well, they do get more leads, but they got more since swapping. Let's try that again. That's great.
Okay, great. It's done.
See, that was easy, wasn't it? To be difficult can be difficult. It's difficult to say difficult.